The 842nd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a free Refs or Terrorists t-shirts. You can claim your shirt today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 842 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. That's dedicated to Andreas Gustafsson, who fought like a absolute monster last night, and cash for us at plus 160. I am one of your hosts, Kaiser Del Busto, aka Jeff Fox. This is not a UFC episode. We'll probably talk a little UFC, but we got a big week of regional MMA going down. We already covered, regional as in non-UFC. We already covered two episodes for this coming week's PFL, so make sure you check those out if you've not already. Then we got some LFA, we got some Octagon, we got some KSW episodes, and then there's also a bunch of other events that you people are probably going to want us to do episodes on, but we only have so much time and so much space.
I gave out, if you hit me up in the comments, I gave out WoW FC picks this week.
He did.
They had 4 title fights and I hit all 4 of them.
Wow. That would be the one and only Daniel Gumby Vreeland, of course. He knows his way around regional MMA. And this is also, before we dive into it, your weekly reminder that I may look and sound pretty stupid, but I can pick UFC fights. I went 8-2 last night, won on $343. 11-2. Sorry, 11-2. Better. 11-2.
Let's make yourself short.
hit 2 dogs. Won $343. Hit my lock. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not just a stupid face. Gumby went 9-4 and hit his underdog. That's all we can really say for Gumby. But yeah, I'm up $1,700. So there you go. There's still time. Plenty of time. Starting this weekend, we got more UFC coming up, of course, this coming weekend in Atlanta. So theoretically, it would be a good fight card, but we'll discuss that on Wednesday. Do you want to talk anything you have to say about UFC 316? Did Survey Spivak make you as angry as he made me?
Well, I think Spivak looked fine. I think he won that fight. I think he clearly won rounds 1 and 3. I think anybody who judged it differently is nuts. Never mind the person who gave every single round to Waldo Cortez Acosta. I mean, that's crazy to me. No, I mean, I think maybe the only other thing is like love Merab with finishing ability. That's a lot of fun. Kayla Harrison looked as good as we thought. Patchy Mix decided he didn't enjoy fighting, and it was just not going to do it. Pacifist Patchy Mix is a weird move. That one infuriated me. That was hard to watch. But outside of that, it was a pretty good fight card.
It infuriated him because he picked Mix and I picked Mario Batista plus 150.
I mean, it just infuriated me because you got a fun new grappler and a fresh face in the division to possibly, because like, let's face it, a lot of the bantamweight division right now is like recycled fights, right? Yep. It's like we're already on Sean O'Malley too. How long is it going to take before we wind up with another Piotr Jan fight? Corey Sandhagen's getting the next shot because he hasn't fought Merab yet, but then like who hasn't? And like, yeah, I guess maybe Mario Batista could be the guy to do that, but it really felt like Patchy Mix was about to insert himself in there. And he just, I mean, in his preview video, he's like, I'm going to go in there and submit him. And then he didn't shoot a takedown. How do you plan on doing that without shooting a takedown, bro?
He looked like he was going to cry the whole time, too. Like,
I think he got poked in the I think something happened to his eye, to be honest.
Yeah, because he was making he did not look like he liked being there very much. And he was flat-footed, and he was a good punching bag most of the fight.
It was really hard to watch.
And seemed to, like, be acting like Batista was running away when Batista was like outstruck him like 2-1.
Yeah, I think it was better than 2-1.
Yeah, very interesting. But anyhow, that was the UFC. It was profitable for me. But
can we recap CFFC real quick too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell the only regional event we did last week, and I hit all 4 plays, including 2 that were lined pretty closely and 1 underdog. And now we're up to 20 units on the year, plus 20 units on the regional scene.
Fantastic. So you're going to want to tell Gumby starting now, today, LFA. Before we dive into LFA, you can get all your free picks and podcasts for the Stanley Cup, College Baseball World Series, and NBA Finals on the SGPN app. Get it wherever you get your apps. And of course, you can get this lovely show, your viewing right now, viewing and or listening to. All right, LFA is on the road. Well, I guess they're always on the road. They don't have an apex, luckily. LFA 210, Loris versus Reyes take place in Louisville, Kentucky on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, UFC Fight Pass. In Freedom Hall, Louisville, 17 fights. Sorry, is someone else complaining that we don't cover? They think they're praying or something, or their greatest wish was that we complete a full fight card. But do people really? I guess people do want 17 fights breakdowns. Like that doesn't
be
sound
recording for like 45 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun to me. So we'll be doing 5 fights, and then Gumby will have plenty to choose from for the bonus content. If that's not good enough, I guess they can go to the other podcast dealing LFA picks, right?
That's up 20 units on regional MMA. Yeah, go to those guys.
All right. Anyhow, sorry, we can't be everything to everyone, but anyhow, I just don't think it would be that entertaining talking about some of these, like especially at regional events, like these 0 versus 0 fights, or it would be kind of hard to break down. So
they're fun though sometimes.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they wouldn't be fun to watch, but even Gumby has trouble, would have trouble getting intel on some of these people. Hopefully he knows about the Turkish machine, which we're going to talk about first. That would be Ilyaz Mamadaliyev.
Yeah, Mamadaliyev.
Yeah, he's coming for Turkey. Yes, I said. Lucas Faria from Brazil. They're fighting at featherweight, 3 5-minute rounds. No odds for this, but we do have odds for next 2 episodes. We will have odds for KSW and Octagon, but LFA have not dropped yet. So Faria, Dog Race is his nickname. That's an interesting nickname. Dog.
I'm in here for it. Yeah.
Dog Race is 7-3 with 7 knockouts. He's been knocked out 3 times. He owes his rounds. Damn it. 0-1 in LFA, 4-1 over his last 5. Got TK out in his last bout. It would have been his LFA debut. It's not won since October 2019. Maybe he was dog racing. Iditarod. Iditarod would be a better nickname for him. Anyhow, a 2015 Pro MMA debut, 2 inches height over Mamadaliyev. Mamadaliyev, as I mentioned, is the Turkish machine. 7-4, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. He owes his rounds 2. Damn it. This is his LFA debut. He's won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. And he's gone 4-3 over his last 7. His past 2 wins have come both via TKO. He's fought at 155, a catch weight of 160, 5 years younger than Faria.
So it's interesting to me. I think this fight is probably going to see Mamadaliyev slightly as a favorite. We'll say like -140 plus 120 on Faria. And the reason I'm going to guess that Mamadaliyev, first of all, he's got an EV at the end of his name, and you know how the books love that. And then second of all, the layoff / recent loss. I mean, his most recent fight only lasted 80 seconds too for Lucas Faria. The fact that he's only fought like 80 seconds in the last 5 years or so like that, probably a problem. And so like I assume he'll be an underdog as a result. But I'm actually going to take Lucas Faria. The reason why is, first of all, that lone loss since he's come back was to Jose Delgado, who's now 1-0 in the UFC. And, absolutely dominated on Contender Series and then beat the snot out of Connor Matthews. And like, yeah, it only lasted 80 seconds. So like, how much could we really tell about Faria? But he really didn't look like out of his element against Jose Delgado. And Delgado is an excellent striker. I would say the one piece that I think is like missing from Faria's striking game is like, it's pretty clear to me that he needs to be less stationary. Like his head stays on the line too much, but like, he's got kind of like this stabbing front kick that hits to the body. And, he throws nice combinations. He had Delgado moving and making Delgado do the right things, which, pretty easy for Delgado to do. But at the same time, like he was forcing his hand. And then, if you watch Mamadaliyev, there's nothing really to write home about in terms of the striking. Like he's pretty one-dimensional looking for takedowns. And I really didn't even like what I saw from his takedowns. I was watching his most recent fight and he gets in trying for a takedown and like in 10 seconds, he has his own back taken, and I'm like, man, maybe the wrestling's there, but like the jiu-jitsu isn't, because it's like positional stuff is just out of there. And then when he did wind up at distance, it's like complete winging shots and, like not really getting after his opponents with any kind of real technique. So I think Faria is going to have a good time on the feet here. I'm hoping he doesn't just get pinned underneath him and have nothing to do, but like based on the jiu-jitsu, I'm not even sure Mamadaliyev could hold him down. So give me Faria, and I'm hoping slight underdog.
Dog Race is the pick.
That's right.
It's what you really want to say. 29% are in on him. on
Oh,
Topology.
maybe
So,
that might be a bigger underdog.
yeah, we can always hope, right? We can always hope. I still have not done a study on that. I don't know if I will ever have the interest or the time, but to see if there is any kind of correlation between Topology and the actual odds. We're going to a female fight next. I do have time for this. Women's strawweight, Mackenzie Stiller versus Sidney Trillo. They're both from the United States. Tell you about Trillo first. Sid Vicious is the nickname. Already been taken, but nonetheless, she's 5-1. One knockout, one submission. She's been knocked out once. She has some finishes. 4-0 in LFA. She's won 3 straight fights. Is not lost since May of 2022. She went 0-1 in Invicta. Her lone loss. Inch of height, 4 inches reach over Stiller. Stiller is Mac Judo. Good nickname. 3-1 with 2 submissions. She's been knocked out once. She owes us rounds. This is her debut in LFA. TKO win in her last bout. She went 2-1 in Bellator. RIP to Bellator. 120. She used to fight at 125.
I actually wrote down that she had nice judo throws, and I did not know that Mac Judo was her nickname.
There you go.
Yeah, and so I think Mac Judo is going to be the dog here. I wrote down plus 225, so like negative 250 on Trillo, and I'm going to take Steeler too. I'm going to go dog out of the gate this week.
Nice.
And the big reason is that judo. And it's not just judo. She's got a good double leg too. But then like, she's got that head and arm throw that we love in women's MMA so many times.
Hey, it still works. It still works.
Not only does it still work, and she's like, she comes from a judo background. That's why they call her Mac Judo. And it, you know, you mentioned she was 2-1 in Bellator. The losses to Samiko Amaba, who is inexplicably getting a very big fight for PFL next.
Yep, sure.
It's so confusing how they're booking things. But like she fought Samiko Amaba, and she had Amaba down 3 or 4 times in that fight. And yeah, her striking is kind of slow and sort of rote and not really anything I would worry about. Trillo is definitely the better striker. But if you've watched pretty much any of Trillo's fights, like when she's succeeding on the feet, she's pressuring and she winds up in the clinch a lot. You know, I went back and watched her fight with Brittany Kamosi. She was like backing her down, and then she just winds up in a clinch and shoots a takedown instead of just continuing to piece her up. So she's somebody who like clearly should have an advantage on the feet against Stiller, but like inexplicably keeps going to her wrestling and keeps going. Like that just must be what she's most comfortable with.
Yeah.
And like the speed advantage over Stiller should make her the favorite here, but I just don't know how often she'll use it. I don't know how often she'll stick with it. And if she doesn't, Stiller should definitely be the better grappler. She's going to have all the positive positions here and should be able to grind out a victory.
16% on Stiller. You may be getting some good lines here.
Yeah. So like I said, like maybe plus 225, plus 230. Yeah.
Yep. Nice. All right. Speaking of good lines and getting the edge boost time. Edge boost is the first ever bet account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. So sign up today at edgeboost.bet with our promo code SGPN. Then you can get in on these amazing lines that Gumby are telling you with the credit you're going to get from Edge Boost. And last week, to sign up and get a free Refs or Terrorists t-shirt, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs, R-E-F-S, to claim your free shirt right now. Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway is on as well. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. You get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. You can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGPN15. Enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football contest for free. That's the important part at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That would be sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And back to Kentucky we go for a men's fight. I know that much. Scrolling up, it is 185 middleweight fight. Jackson McVey, Mataeo, Garner, both Americans. We'll tell you about Garner first.
Is it Mataeo? Is it Mataeo?
Is it? It's M-A-T-A-E.
There's an extra A in there.
Yeah, there is.
Mataeo.
It's probably just Mateo, and his parents spelled it wrong, but who's to say? We'll call him Top. No, that doesn't sound right if I call him this, but it's his nickname. Top Ape is his nickname, Gumby. We got another good matchup here. The Moose versus Top 8. This is like one of those 100 men versus a gorilla type of discussion here. All right, Top 8 is Ape is Garner. He is 4-1, 1 knockout, 1 submission. He's been submitted once. He owes some finishes. He won his last bout. think this is his LFA debut. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. He won his last bout, regional champion. He's fought at 205 and 265. 0-1 as a pro boxer. McVey is the Moose. The Moose versus top 8. 5-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. He owes his rounds. 3-0 on LFA. Used to fight at 199 pounds. 2 years younger than that amazing weight class. 2 years younger than Garner, 7 inches taller.
7 inches taller.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 6'4" versus 5'9" at middleweight.
Yep.
So we got like what was it, Deron Wynn? Was he the
right? Yep.
The little stocky guy who was in the UFC at middleweight.
Our compliments are our Kirkland brand, Daniel Cormier. Yes.
Yeah, Kirkland Daniel Cormier. I remember that. And isn't he's also married to, is he not married to the Octagon champ there?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Darren Wynn wife. Let's see. Darren Wynn wife.
Mallory Martin.
Oh, is that who he's married to? Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's Mallory Martin.
Mallory Martin. You are correct. You are correct, sir.
Love Mallory Martin. She's made me a lot of money. Let's talk about Jackson McVey, because I think he's going to be the favorite here. We'll say like negative 275. I think this one's pretty one-sided. Because if you watch Mataeo Garner, he looks a little gun shy on the feet. You know, every single time I've seen him striking, he seems like he doesn't want to engage. And it makes sense, right? He's fought at middleweight, and I think he's fought at light heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And so he's fought at middleweight and light heavyweight, and he's 5'9". Of course he doesn't want to exchange, right? But he does want to wrestle. I'll tell you, he definitely wants to try to wrestle, and he shoots a ton of takedowns. You know, it looks all right for the level of regional middleweight he is. You know, I'm not out here thinking he's a, you know, former national champion or anything, and now maybe he is, and I just don't know. But like I wouldn't guess that he is. And I just think this is a terrible matchup for him, because if you watch McVey, you know, you could tell striking isn't his favorite thing either, but he's got like a really nice 1-2, and he uses his length really well to stay out of other people's range and sort of, you know, pressure them back into where he wants. And then the best part of him is he just commits to chokes in the most brutal freaking way. Every single, I mean, whether it's a guillotine or a Bravo or like, I mean, he got a Bravo choke in like 49 seconds in his last fight or something. And it's because the guy shot in and he like pounced on it. And the one before that was a guillotine choke where he like, it was one where he switched the angle and he grabbed the palm of the hand and pulled up. And so like a standing guillotine from there, like all really, really good stuff. And so like Mataeo Garner is going to be shooting desperation takedowns so he doesn't get picked apart from range. McVey's gonna sub him. Like and I'm not saying that Garner doesn't have submission defense or can't see it coming. I just think the volume of opportunity Jackson McVey is going to have to finally link in one of those chokes and to put him to sleep, I think it's too many. So give me Jackson McVey here. Probably a big favorite. Somebody I might throw in a parlay.
Throw him in a parlay. Let's see what the topologists say about McVey.
97, I'll say.
Yes.
Come
wow,
on, really?
Nailed it. Yeah. Gumby. See, Gumby knows his stuff. I guess no one questions Gumby knowing his stuff, but Gumby knows his stuff. All right. We are skipping the next fight, and we're to the
No, this is the order. This is the order.
Oh, the order LFA is doing. Okay.
According to Tapology, we're skipping the next fight.
Yeah. Co-main event, Christian Natividad. There's always a chance that one of the Natividads are fighting on an event that we cover. Yeah. There's a lot of them. Christian Natividad is fighting Jose Sandoval. So we got America versus Mexico for Sandoval. Let's say about Sandoval first. El Ronin is the nickname. 7-3 with 5 submissions. Do Ronins tap people out, Gumby? I just picture Ronin. Don't Ronins just chop people up? But apparently,
I thought it was a chop up thing.
Yeah, a chop up thing. He's never been finished in a fight. 1-0 in LFA. He's won 2 straight and 5 of 7. Both of his past 2 wins have come via submission. He's regional champ. He's fought at 135, 5 years younger than Natividad. Natividad, the Hawaiian Punch, good nickname. 6-0 with 2 knockouts. All those fights take place in LFA. He's fought at 135, 3 inches of reach over Sandoval.
Yeah, I mean, if we're getting negative 275 on McVey, which was kind of my hope, I think you're going to get 400 on Natividad. He should be a massive favorite here. I mean, he's the real deal. Like the UFC, I believe, wanted him on this season of The Ultimate Fighter. I actually interviewed him about this. He decided not to go into the house and instead hope for Contender Series because he thinks it's a better path. Wants to be around his coaches, wants to have the appropriate training for big fights instead of, the coin flip that the Tough House is. So I think this is his fight that if he wins it, we might see him on one of the later episodes of the Contender Series.
Nice.
His hands are fast. He puts together really nice combinations. If I had a critique of what I've seen from him, it's that when he starts to land, his defense kind of goes out the window a little bit. Like he forgets that he needs to keep his guard up when he starts to hurt you. So like, as he continues to move up the ranks, if there's somebody who, starts firing back with any kind of technique, he could potentially be in trouble there. But moves his feet really well, good lateral movement, hooks are there, he's straight to the target when he needs to be. And then on top of that, what I really like about Christian Natividad is, nicknames Hawaiian Punch. You see all the finishes with his hands. I'm sitting here telling you about his striking. He can wrestle too. He does a really good job of getting to the hips when he wrestles. He drives through the takedowns. It's mostly up against the cage, but hey, if you're a striker with that kind of thing in your back pocket, I don't care if it's kind of a one-dimensional takedown. And then when we're looking at Sandoval, he fought Apune Pagoa in his last fight, a guy who I'm really high on, and he beat Pagoa. But I went back and I watched the fight, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember why I was so frustrated by this. And it's Pagoa just tags him over and over and over again and hurts him over and over and over again, particularly with counters. Sandoval seems like he is very, very obviously open to counters. He swings big and comes off balance. And so Natividad is just going to beat the hell out of him there. And then, the reason Sandoval wound up winning that fight is he somehow found a heel hook at the end of the first round. I think there was 1 second left in the first round, and he tapped out Pagoa. So he's good on the ground, but I just said, Natividad can kind of wrestle. So it might be on Natividad's, sort of his choice if he wants to make it a ground fight here. And I don't think he's going to do that. I think you're just going to see him pick apart Sandoval on the feet. Wouldn't be surprised with a KO. Give me Christian Natividad.
All right, 98% for him. So yeah, a little bit better than
just a little
than the last gentleman we covered. All right, before we get to our main event, let me tell you about Rhythm, RITHMM. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think, for example, a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. We will be. Do you find anything else on Power Trends recently, Gumby, that we haven't discussed yet?
Last time I was talking about how to take the under on Pascal Siakam's points, rebounds, and assists, and Rhythm didn't think that was a good idea, and it turns out Rhythm was right and I was wrong.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam. Turns out those Indiana Pacers, they're pretty good, man.
Yep. All right, so check out Power Trend and all the other cool features over at Rhythm, and you can do for free with a 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM. And we're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, lightning fast payouts using crypto. Plus, they'll have all these LFA lines dropping very, very shortly. So check those out. And when you do, go check everything out at MyBookie.ag. Make sure you sign up with our promo code MMA SGPN. That way you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. All right, Freedom Hall we go. One last time, Louisville, Kentucky for the main event. 3 5-minute rounds at featherweight. Lance Lawrence, who is from the area, up against Javier Reyes. He is from Colombia, I believe. Yes. Let's break it down by telling you about Reyes first. Blair is the nickname. He's 20-5, 9 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 1-2 in LFA. He's gone loss, win, loss over his last 4 fights. He has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky. You said at 155, 2014 Pro MMA debut, an inch of reach over Lawrence. Lawrence is the Tornado, which is apt for the area of the world that he lives in. He's 9-4, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. He has never been finished in a fight. 2-0 in LFA. He's won 3 straight and 4 of 5. He got submitted in his last bout. He's not lost a fight since November 2022. He went 0-1 in Contender Series. Do you know who beat him, Gumby?
That had to have been a real early season.
It was, and it was someone I hadn't heard of, and then he didn't get signed. He had another fight in Contender Series, lost that, and he has not fought since.
Oh no, I definitely don't know who you're
Kevin Seiler. Do you remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
You do remember him?
Wasn't he on a? I think he had a fight to get in the Ultimate Fighter house at one point in time. Kevin Seiler did.
Yep, he's not been seen in 5 years, at least MMA wise. All right, so that was Lawrence's loss on Contender Series. He's fight at 155, 6 inches taller than Reyes, so another massive size gap here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take. That says Javier Torres. It was Javier Reyes on the bottom.
Yeah, it's Reyes. Yeah, Javier Blair Reyes. Yep.
I don't know why it says Torres on our little bottom. So we're gonna fix that real quick. Hang on.
It's bugging Gumby.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Oh, and look at that. Now it's fixed.
Intern's fault.
Yeah, that intern's getting fired. That's racist. I'm gonna take Javier Reyes here. Here's the big reason why I like Javier Reyes. So like, I watch Lance Lawrence's striking, and it's good. But like, it seems like he's throwing the same 1-2 pretty often, and I really don't like how he looks when he's pressed up against the cage. I watched one of his more recent fights against Jacob Bond, and I don't know if you know Jacob Bond. He's like a 14-13 kind of journeyman guy who these kind of promotions bring in to get beat up by. Like, he's lost to like Joe Giannetti in Cage Titans, but he's also lost to Shane Burgos in CFFC, and then he's also lost to like Joe Selecki and Fury, and so like all of these promotions just bring in Jacob Bond when they need him to lose to somebody, for the most part. No offense to Jacob Bond. They brought him in to fight Lance Lawrence, and he had Lance Lawrence's back pretty quick. In fact, he ended the first round on his back, and I was like, man, dude, if Lance Lawrence is having that kind of trouble with the guy who he's not supposed to have trouble with, that seems like a bad sign, right? Because he should just be able to like open up and just blast this guy in the feet, and instead he was getting in on him. And then when you watch Javier Reyes' most recent fight, he fought Chris McCade, who, you know, I think really highly of. I think he's a future UFC fighter too. And he did lose that fight. It's worth noting, but he also took down Chris McCade a couple of times, and he had really good positions in that fight. And like, that alone might be enough to beat Lance Lawrence. But in addition to that too, like, he's kind of got a sneaky little uppercut that he throws. And I think he might even got a knockout on that uppercut one time. But he's got like a little uppercut he throws. He's got some tricks he uses on the feet. But like, mainly I see this as a fight where Reyes has just got to get to the cage and put Lawrence there, and he should be able to grind this one out.
All right. It is close on Tapology. I think 54% for Reyes when I checked.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it. I have written down negative 120 Reyes. Yeah.
All right, there you go. That checks out perfectly then. All right, Reyes is the pick. Don't you people go away. We're not done with picks. Let me give you a recap first. He's got Reyes. He has got Natividad. He has got McVey. He's got Stiller. He has got Faria. Some very good nicknames this episode. Dog Race, Mac Judo.
Dog Race all over time, right?
Yep. Top Ape, the Hawaiian Punch. I approve. Actually, we have in 2 episodes, maybe next episode, we got a very strange nickname coming up. So
okay, cool.
In KSW. All right. Lightning round, you've got 12 fights to choose from. Gummy, what do you have for the people?
I'm going to take Eric Calvert. He was like a hot prospect off of the regional scene. I think I want to say he lost his only LFA fight, but it was to Micah Haas, the guy whose nickname we try to say as little as possible. But like he was game in that fight, and it's like it was like a fun striker kind of fight. And Eric Calvert, whose nickname is Lyle, you might remember having talked about it.
I remember
Lyle. And so like I really like him. I think this is a good bounce back fight for him. And then the other one I'm going to take is Steve Collins. Speaking of good nicknames, Scuba Steve Collins.
Yep.
He's coming off a win over Kelton Sneeve, who, again, another guy who I think really highly of and think is a really hot prospect. So in order to take the 0 from Kelton Sneeve, he's got to be pretty legit. And so, like, I'm going to take him to keep rolling. So once again, that's Eric Calvert and Scuba Steve Collins.
All right, you're set for LFA. I'm sure Gummy will give you more picks if you ask politely in the Discord, sportsgamblingpockets.com/Discord, or of course in the comments section of our YouTube MMA Gambling Podcast, as long as you subscribe first. Thank you very much. You can also hit us up on the old Twitter machine. SGPN MMA is the handle. Gumby handles that for us. He is at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. Same as Instagram for me, Jeff Fox Writer. Check out my Substack. Enter my free UFC Pick'em contest at moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gumby's other podcasts where he introduces and interviews interesting people in MMA. Top Turtle MMA. Do we know who's on this week, or is it too early at this point?
We're gonna get some Contender Series folk on this week. I've got 4 in the tank right now. I'm deciding which 2 to air, so you'll have to wait and see.
All right. Top Turtle MMA, and of course, sportsgamblingpockets.com, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store to get your merch, sportsgamblingpockets.com/Patreon to get some bonus content. We shall be back tomorrow. It will be Dog Race, Jeff Fox, Top 8, Gumby Vreeland. We'll talk to you then.